Silent comedy was never truly silent. In theaters, the images were commonly accompanied by a pianist, organist, small ensemble, or orchestra, but the performer still had to make the essential idea readable without spoken dialogue. Desire, danger, pride, panic, and the exact instant when dignity leaves the room. Physical comedy is often mistaken for falling down. At its best, the body is only one part of a larger design. Props resist, crowds accelerate, architecture misbehaves, and the camera decides what the audience knows. A great gag is not merely pain, it is cause and effect made visible. That gives us 5 tests. How much did the comedian risk or physically commit? How precisely were space and machinery used? Did the comic character belong inside that world? Could the method sustain a feature-length story? And did later filmmakers inherit a usable language, rather than a collection of isolated tricks? The difficulty is separating danger from the appearance of danger. Harold Lloyd's famous height comedy used real rooftops, carefully chosen camera angles, and platforms positioned to control the risk. The illusion was engineered, but the performer still had to sell every slip, clance, and desperate grip as one continuous emergency. The best silent comedians also understood that a close-up and a long shot do different work. A face can reveal intention. A wide frame can prove where every wall, doorway, vehicle, and human body stands. When the geography is clear, the audience can anticipate disaster a second before it arrives. That second is comic gold. So this is not a contest for the most beloved screen personality, the greatest dramatic actor, or the filmmaker with the broadest cultural legacy. It is narrower and harsher, who most completely turned character, real physical action, visual construction, and feature film storytelling into one comic system. Roscoe Arbuckle helped establish the muscular freedom of early screen comedy. Working in the rough, fast world of short films, he could move with surprising delicacy, absorb chaos, and redirect it. His size was never the whole joke. The joke was how quickly and gracefully he could make that expectation collapse. His films with Mabel Normand and the Keystone Company treated rooms, wider crowds, and domestic objects as unstable materials. Arbuckle also became a crucial collaborator and mentor to a younger vaudeville performer who learned screen comedy in his orbit. The workshop mattered almost as much as the surviving star persona. Arbuckle's limitation in this field is partly historical. His greatest influence came through shorts, collaboration, and a career violently interrupted before the mature feature era could show the full reach of his method. He helped build the grammar, but others would take that grammar into more sustained and architecturally ambitious films. Harry Langdon moved in the opposite direction from Keystone Speed. His screen character, often called the Little Elf, seemed childlike, delayed, and faintly bewildered. He could hold a reaction past the point when another comedian would have fled, letting uncertainty become the mechanism of the joke. In The Strongman, that fragile character survives a world of adult threats through a strange mixture of innocence, luck, and sudden action. The timing is singular, and for a brief period, Langdon belonged beside the era's largest comedy names. Yet the method was narrow. Once the delicate balance of character, direction, and pacing slipped, the magic proved hard to reproduce. Harold Lloyd created a far more durable machine. His glasses character looked like an ordinary, ambitious young American, rather than an outsider. That made the danger personal. The audience could imagine wanting the job, compassing the girl, entering the college, or climbing the building, right up to the moment success became physically unreasonable. His great achievement was thrill comedy, where suspense and laughter strengthen each other. Safety last built an entire ascent from street-level obstacles to the clock face, preserving the illusion of height without simply replacing the performer with trick photography. The engineering controlled the risk. Lloyd's timing made the risk feel immediate. He also proved that this character could carry a major feature. The Freshman became one of the defining popular successes of 1925 because embarrassment, aspiration, romance, and spectacle all pointed in the same direction. Lloyd's limitation is not craft, but integration. The set pieces can feel like magnificent trials imposed on the hero, rather than a whole universe expressing his mind. Charlie Chaplin is the strongest rival because his physical comedy is inseparable from emotion. The Tramp can turn a meal, a doorway, a factory machine, or a polite social ritual into choreography. More importantly, the movement reveals hunger, vanity, tenderness, resentment, and the stubborn performance of dignity. City Lights arrived after talking pictures had transformed the industry, yet Chaplin made a largely silent film that succeeded critically and commercially. Its final recognition scene is famous, not for a stunt, but for microscopic changes in expression. That emotional range gives Chaplin the broadest claim to greatness among silent comedians. Modern times extended the tramp into an industrial world of feeding machines, assembly lines, unemployment, and mass systems. Chaplin could make pantomime carry social argument without abandoning laughter. In overall humanity, cultural reach, and emotional completeness, he may be unsurpassed. But this exact field asks a different question. Chaplin usually bends the world around the tramp's social and emotional struggle. The final contender does something colder and more structurally radical. He lets the physical world keep its own rules, then finds a way for the comic character to survive inside them. Buster Keaton is the GOAT of silent-era physical screen comedy. His achievement was not simply performing dangerous stunts with a calm face. He made character, camera position, mechanical cause and effect, and large-scale space operate as parts of the same machine. Keaton entered films through Roscoe Arbuckle's company after growing up in a family vaudeville act built around hard physical knockabout. In more than a dozen shorts with Arbuckle, he learned what the camera changed. A stage fall could become a precise screen event because framing, dictio, and editing controlled what the audience understood. When he gained his own production unit, 1 week announced the method almost immediately. A prefabricated house is assembled incorrectly, but the joke does not depend on random collapse. The crooked structure becomes a complete comic environment, with doors, walls, stairs, weather, and human intention all pulling against one another. That distinction matters. Many comedians use a prop until it breaks. Keaton designs a sequence in which the object's properties generate the next problem. The audience sees the rule, predicts one outcome, and then watches a more exact outcome arrive. His gags feel surprising because they are logical, not because logic has been suspended. Sherlock Jr. pushed the idea into the medium itself. Keaton plays a projectionist who enters the film on the screen, only to be thrown across abruptly changing locations while his body keeps the same position in the frame. The sequence turns editing, normally invisible, into a physical adversary. The film also contains long take action, whose credibility depends on clear spatial evidence. During production, one accident drove Keaton against a rail with enough force to fracture his neck, an injury discovered only years later. The point is not to award greatness for damage. It is that his visual method often required the action to remain legible and continuous. In The Navigator, scale becomes the opponent. Keaton's production used a real ocean liner, about 370 feet long and roughly 5,000 tons, as the central comic space. Two helpless people inhabit an enormous machine designed for hundreds, and every ordinary task becomes a problem of distance, systems, and mismatched scale. The underwater material was especially difficult, but the larger achievement is conceptual. A ship is not decoration behind the performer. Its corridors, decks, ropes, kitchens, and machinery dictate the comedy. Keaton's character does not dominate the object. He studies it, adapts, and usually discovers that the object has one more consequence waiting. The general expanded that thinking into moving landscape. Keaton staged action around working locomotives and built pursuit comedy from tracks, switches, fuel, gradients, distance, and timing. The famous bridge collapse used a real locomotive filmed by multiple cameras in one of the era's most expensive single gags. The production scale did not guarantee contemporary success. The General was costly and initially disappointed commercially, then grew into a recognized classic. That reversal strengthens the case because the film's reputation rests less on period fashion than on the durability of its construction. The geography still reads, the mechanisms still pay off. Harold Lloyd comes closest on danger and audience identification. Chaplin surpasses Keaton in emotional range and in the power to turn comedy towards social compassion. But Keaton wins the narrower contest because no rival fused real physical commitment, objective space, camera logic, machinery, and sustained feature narrative so consistently. His famous restraint is essential to that fusion. A pleading expression would ask the audience to excuse the character from the world's rules. Keaton's composure does the opposite. It accepts the evidence. The wall is falling, the train is moving, the ship is drifting, and sentiment will not alter the geometry. Late recognition confirmed how far the work had traveled. At the Academy Awards ceremony held in 1960, Keaton received an honorary award for his unique talents and enduring contribution to screen comedy. By then, filmmakers and audiences could see that the apparent simplicity had concealed extraordinary control. Buster Keaton's GOAT status matters because he proved that cinema could think with physical space. A room, a camera cut, a ship, or a locomotive could become a scene partner with rules of its own, and the comedian who rarely begged for a laugh made the material world deliver it.